All right, so that was the unboxing of the Ultra Ring. And what I'm going to do with this Ultra Ring is I'm testing it with the first kind of ring that really came out that kind of set the tempo for all of the kind of these health rings to follow, which was the Oura ring. Now, I confess that in this video, I'm going to be comparing it with the first generation Oura ring. So it might not be a totally fair comparison because I'm sure that the Oura ring has improved in some ways. I know for a fact that the new Oura ring has a better battery life. I know that it's thinner, but I also know that I think they have a payment plan geared around the new model as well, whereas the first generation doesn't. So what I've been doing for the last few days is I've been wearing them together. I've been wearing one on one hand, one on the other, and I've been just doing my regular business. Ooh, sounds terrible, doing my business. Well, obviously I have to do business, but let's say the rings are taken care of. Going about my normal business day to day whilst keeping on with my smartwatch. So what I want to basically compare these rings on is a kind of, like for like, situation for situation, and compare it with what I consider to be the best form of this kind of thing, which is a watch, a smartwatch. So let me go through this, what I've been doing. This is one of the few workouts I'm able to wear the rings for the whole workout. I've been wearing it to hit the bag, to do a run, to go on the assault bike, to do some light shoulders and some abs. It was a 20-minute moderate intensity workout. I had one ring, this is the Oura ring, it's always been on the left hand. And on the right hand, I have the ULTRAHUMAN ring. Now you notice that this is on this finger. I started, because I'm hitting the bag, I wanted to try and make it in a comfortable position because both rings are quite thick. If you go for a white knuckle fist with the ring on your desired chosen finger, which I always think this is the best one to do, just for ease of use. It always feels as if there's something there. The first generation Oura ring is thicker than this. That's why I had to move this back to this hand, because when I wore it on the little finger, I was hitting the bag and it felt like it was just going to do damage to my finger. Whereas this one is a little bit thinner, so I had to keep on this hand. So I had the watch, I had this, and I had this. So first things first, when I opened up to sync my apps, what happened was the ULTRAHUMAN just opens as normal. So as you can see, I went into my movement index and it said 649 steps. My watch says, my ULTRAHUMAN says 2,649 steps so far this morning, including the workout. And my ring says, my watch says 2,554. If I go into ULTRAHUMAN, the first thing I noticed when I put the ULTRAHUMAN watch on is that it said workout detected. So it was accurate. Both of these are pretty good when it comes to detecting naps. But as far as I'm concerned, the Oura ring is the only one that detects workouts, just for your daily movements. It's detected walks and it's detected naps, and now it's detected this more high intensity form of exercise. When I go into the movement, it says 3,711 steps. So if I've gone over the course of the week, I've noticed that the Oura ring tends to give me a higher score than both the ULTRAHUMAN and the watch. The watch, I think, tends to be slightly low because I don't think, this is an Amazfit T-Rex, I don't think they detect the first 10 steps. It's not until you breach 10 steps that it says, right, actual movement is occurring, and it's not just your hand movement. I'm not sure about these two. So I always say that I can add maybe about 5% on at the end of the day to what this says. So by the step count, I would say that maybe the ULTRAHUMAN was a little bit more accurate. Having said that, on some days I've noticed differences, not so much difference, and then on other days slightly more difference. In terms of the sleep, this is my whole gripe with this kind of wearable technology. I can't sleep with this on because it's too bulky, so I take the watch off. So it discounts it for sleep, basically. I don't use it for sleep. I used to use the Oura ring for sleep, but then I came to the conclusion, you know what, I don't need a ring when I wake up and I feel like shit to say, you've had a bad night's sleep. Oh, really? You know what I mean? I was up 3 times a night because the dogs wanted to go out for a pee. I know that. Having said that, I think they can be useful if you've never used this technology before, because it's probably the most accurate form, unless you're going for one of those pads that lies on your actual bed or goes underneath your pillow. I think it's a good, useful tool in that sense. Having said that, the difference between these two rings has been quite different. Whereas this has been giving me, I would say, the Oura Ring more accurate sleep data, because it's detected, because I know I've been up and down a couple of times, whether that's going for a wee or to let the dogs out. Whereas I look in the morning and the Oura Ring saying, 78, not bad, maybe take it easy today on your recovery score. Whereas the ULTRAHUMAN one day was all greens for the exact same night's sleep. It was like, everything is hunky-dory. And I knew it wasn't quite right. In fairness to the ULTRAHUMAN ring, I'm getting firmware updates, so there are things coming in, maybe to make it a little bit more accurate. But the biggest thing for me is I just don't feel either of these things are worthwhile. My biggest gripe with all of this smart technology stuff, and I'm happy to be, put it in the comments to be proven otherwise and give me a recommendation, but I find that none of them track workouts properly. And by properly, I mean, for example, if you wore a heart rate monitor all day, you go about your business, it's going to get your heart rate when you start exercising just because it's accurate and it measures the electrical signals from your heart. It's nothing to do with blood flow, which is always the flaw with this kind of technology. These say they have the best technology with, lights. This has got a green light in it, by the way. This one doesn't. So occasionally, if you move your hand up in the middle of the night, you see a green light going, it's not a big deal, but this is better in that there's zero light. The biggest gripe is they don't detect exercise accurately. And the last thing I want to do, because I've done it in the past, is I'm getting ready for work, I'm getting psyched up, right, okay, go into the app. What kind of workout is it? It's going to be do this, right, ready, let's go, start now. An hour later, yeah, just still going, an hour and a half later, I've finished, like, I haven't turned the workout off. This kind of stuff, as far as I'm concerned, isn't ready until it just measures accurately every single activity you do. Otherwise, I don't see the point of having it where you have to enter everything. ULTRAHUMAN says they have better support for workouts. The ring life, don't forget, this ring was sat in the drawer for maybe a year and a half, 2 years before I picked it out and recharged it. I think they've probably both got very similar battery life. I charged this up full yesterday. Let's see how it is doing today. Ring battery is, pretty almost fully charged. Whereas the ULTRAHUMAN I plugged in briefly yesterday, and now it's saying there's not much left. So I suspect that the battery life might be a bit better even in this old Ultra Ring, but don't quote me on it. Definitely the new ones I suspect would be better. The price for these things is very similar. And I think that the factor that would put me off moving towards the Oura Ring, considering there are very minimal differences between the size of these things now, is the fact that you have to maybe pay for a subscription if you want to move in and get all the relevant data. So summary, these things ultimately, I think, unless you're new to this and you really want to just start to get a bit of an insight and and use it as a tool to make positive changes, I don't think are necessary. This, for me, is all I would need. However, even during some of my workouts, like when I hit the bag, I have to take it off. It doesn't do automatic workout detection. None of them are able to manage heart rate detection above maybe 130, 140 beats per minute. They all just fall short because of the limitations of the technology, with it being a blood flow measure. And again, none of them they don't do it instinctively, automatically. What would be the best solution is you have a watch on, a ring on, you do your daily basis, your steps are accurate. Oh, it detected your workouts. It was roughly this much. You shouldn't have to, I did weightlifting, I did badminton, I did table tennis. It should just detect it. Heart rate should just be heart rate. Blood flow should just be blood flow. This to me now is basically a glorified stopwatch and step pedometer. And obviously it does other good stuff like, GPS and all that kind of stuff. But again, I don't really need it. And most people don't need it. These things are just a tool to help you with accountability. They help you get to bed early, they help you be conscious about your sleep. But once you've been there and you've done it for maybe a few months, I think you passed it. And they just get in the way because every time I do a workout, the rings go off and they go in the bag. This is my major gripe with the rings. they get scratched. You can't hold bars with them. If they're not detecting workouts accurately, what's the point of them?